What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of That Hobby Show. As you can see, we have another special guest this week. But first, as always, Houston from Chasing the Graph. How's it going, my friend?
It's going good. Another absolutely humid day in North Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah, we're getting that here in Arizona, too. Our monsoon season has been insane. I am tired of rain because now it actually looks like I have grass, but it's all weeds. So the HOA is going to be up my ass soon. And then also our special guest today, we have Dan from Korean Cardboard coming live from South Korea.
Yes, it's Monday morning, 9:30 a.m.
Yeah. When I lived in Korea, Mondays were always super depressing for me because that meant no KBO.
True.
For people that don't realize, the Korea Baseball Organization, not the Korean Baseball Organization, but the KBO, they every Monday is off. They don't play any games. Usually it's the minor league, the Futures League that would have a game. So yeah, but so how's it going in Korea?
Today we have yesterday was National Liberation Day for Korea, so today we have a holiday, so I don't have to. My semester started this past Friday, so I'm off today, and then classes start up again tomorrow. So my vacation didn't seem that long. It was almost 4 weeks for my vacation for the midterm break, but I worked summer camps for like 3 of those weeks, and so my vacation felt very short, and I don't think I'm gonna do that again. But the cash is always nice to have to buy some more baseball cards.
Yeah. So for everyone that doesn't know, Dan is a ESL teacher in South Korea. So that is my dream, to go over there and live again and just be a teacher. And then
I heard that's what you were thinking about doing that.
Yeah, but so most of the companies, or I don't know what you would call them, the hiring agencies, you need a bachelor's degree, correct?
True, the minimum.
Yeah. So I only have my associates. So I need to start getting back into school. And the good thing is,
did you go straight into the Air Force after your associates?
No, I got my associates in the Air Force. I should be a doctor. It took me 12 years to get my associates. So, that 7th senior year was kind of tough for me. Yeah. So, but the good thing, though, that I've seen, they don't care about your degree as long as it's a bachelor's.
Yeah. My bachelor's is in journalism, which is close to English, but because you need to be able to speak and write. But yeah, I mean, I know history majors and math majors who are working here.
Awesome. So today's episode is collecting in a foreign country, and I couldn't think of anybody better other than maybe George. But yeah, and you guys can probably see Dan's Samsung Lions jersey. I wore my KT Wiz jersey for Dan. That's my favorite KBO team, and I busted out the hat too. But
that's a signed jersey?
This one, yeah. This was
on the back.
I tried to get him to sign it on the back, but if you can see this gold, it's like sandpaper. So, and it's the only autograph I've ever been able to get inside of a Korean baseball stadium. And I showed him the jersey before the game in Wiz Stadium in Suwon, South Korea. There's that gate out in right field where their little locker room is, and you can basically see inside the field. So went and picked up this jersey at the team store because it was a special order. And I seen him in Park Kyung-soo just talking. So I held up the jersey, and since it's gold, it like blinded them, like I was shining a laser pointer in their eyes. And they were impressed that I bought it. So go inside the stadium. I'm holding up the jersey, and Supersonic waved me down. That's the player's jersey. His nickname is Supersonic because he's crazy fast and awesome. But so I tried to get him to sign the back of it, and it absolutely destroyed my Sharpie. So I had to get him to sign it here on the side panel. It's kind of tough to see, but yeah. Anyway, I was able to get him to sign it. And we got Rob checking in, saying what's up from Florida. How's it going?
Yeah, I told Robert I'd be on.
Yeah, he's a great resource for all things Japanese baseball related, and a lot of KBO stuff too.
Yeah, it would surprise you. He does have a lot of Korean stuff.
Yeah, a lot of game use stuff too that I've had my eye on, and I've spent quite a few dollars on his Ichiro banners that I am collecting. So
yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, thank you. But so I wanted to have you on to talk about the I guess
collecting in a foreign country.
Yeah, and like the hurdles, or because a lot of your collection, well, I'd say a majority of your collection is MLB guys, right?
What do you? Well, all right. So as you guys know, I collect Mark Burley, who obviously played in America with the White Sox, Miami Marlins, and Toronto Blue Jays, but he's mostly obviously known as a White Sox player. But I collect him, and I collect Lee Sung-yup, who is a Samsung player, and then played in Japan, and then came back to Korea, who never played in MLB. I wish he did. But those are the two guys I collect. I collect a lot of guys more minorly, but those are my two major collectors. I collect Korean baseball sets, and I collect Japanese vintage Minkos. That's pretty much the four things that I collect.
And then you were also you had quite the Don Mattingly collection as
well. I did. I had, yeah. Well, actually, not. For those of if you guys know the PSA registry, I was number 2 with the Don Mattingly set, and I have a crap ton of Mattingly cards, and the few cards that I had here that were PSA, I actually been selling off because I've just been disinterested in going down that route. I don't want to, especially with the way PSA's pricing is now. I have stacks and stacks. You remember the star cards from the 1980s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they had platinum, they had diamond, they had a lot of different sets, and they're like Broder cards more or less. But I had stacks. I think I still have stacks and stacks of those in semi-rigids at my friend's house in the Chicago suburbs that I was going to send off if and when I went back home anytime soon. But I decided not to do that, and eventually I'm going to try and sell a lot of that stuff off. He's a busy family guy, so I don't want to bug him too much. He's been holding my Mattingly cards for a long time now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I've actually been trying to sell a lot of that stuff off, whatever I have with me, in the Facebook Don Mattingly baseball cards group. A lot of good guys in that group that I've known for a while now. But I have a lot of my Don Mattingly PSA cards back at his house, just sitting in PSA vault boxes, in the cardboard white boxes, and they're just sitting there, and I could be making a lot of money on them right now, but it is what it is. I don't really have access to them, and my friend Josh, he's just a busy family guy, and I don't really want I don't want to waste his time helping me out with this when it's not really his concern.
Yeah, and even though Mattingly has been retired for how many years?
He stopped playing in 95. He does have cards in 96. So his PSA is from 82 to 96 are his playing years, but he retired at the 1995 season. He did not resign, and the Yankees won their championship in 96 with Jeter and the boys. So Mattingly never won a championship. And he started in 82, and I think the Yankees won a series in like 78, 80 or 81. So his career was bookended by championships he was not a part of.
And he's still incredibly popular too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys know Collectors Universe. CU, which I'm getting confused with the convenience store here. But CU Collectors Universe has a really good forum. I haven't gone on it in some time, but I remember someone posting like what non-Hall of Fame player has the most cards graded by PSA, and it was Mattingly at the time, followed closely by like McGuire and Bo Jackson and Pete Rose. But Mattingly definitely has a following. Obviously, he was a coach with the Yankees. Then he was the manager of the Dodgers. Now he's the manager of the Marlins. And I would love to see him get in the Hall of Fame one day. But I don't. I mean, I'm a huge White Sox fan, and I do think there's a lot of people who should be in Hall of Fame before Harold Baines. But I'm happy Baines got in. But obviously, he's got so much flack. He's got so much flack from baseball fans. But again, I would love to see Mattingly get in there, but yeah, I stopped. And as you guys know, there's so many inserts and autographs of these guys who no longer play, and Mattingly is no exception. I don't know. He has around 1,400 cards in his PA registry from PSA from 82 to 96, around 1,400 cards. I have about 800 of those graded by PSA, and that put me at the number 2 spot for the registry. But I don't even want to begin to fathom how many he has after his post-playing career cards.
Oh yeah. It's pretty insane. And then we got a comment here. That is also my favorite era of the Yankees. And if it wasn't for Jeffrey Mayer, me being an Orioles fan, the Orioles would have won the World Series that year. Jeffrey Mayer, I still hate you. I'm not over it, and I don't know. In my obituary, I'll probably curse him still because yeah, I hate that dude.
Yeah, he was pretty famous. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony Tarasco should have jumped too, so a little bit's on him as well. But so you grew up in Chicago, correct?
I did. I grew up in Chicago until I was 24.
How did you become a Don Mattingly fan?
It's funny.
That's exactly what
For those who are wondering, I have a better backdrop here, but my main monitor's over here. So I prefer to be looking this way, but I'm looking this way so you guys can see the background instead of a dirty fish tank. I grew up in Chicago, but I often watched these. I think it was Saturday Saturday game of the week, and I believe it was Garagiola and I forgot the other guy who was hosting the NBC game. I can't think of his name at the moment, but Yankees were always on that Saturday afternoon game, and that's how I became to love Don Mattingly. Of course, I love the '80s White Sox players like Guillen and Ventura, and all those minor players like Guillen, Fletcher, Luzinski, Kittle. I mean, I definitely appreciate all that stuff, but that's how I became to love Don Mattingly. And now I've actually had a Don Mattingly tribute group on Facebook for some time, and it's nearing 1,000 members, so that's pretty cool.
Man, that's insane. So I'll probably piss a lot of people off, so you'll have to excuse my lack of geography of Chicago. So
Sure.
the north side is White Sox?
No, just the opposite.
So north side is the Cubs, south side is the White Sox. So
Right.
were you from the south side?
I am from the southwest side, near Midway Airport. So yes, I was on the south side. The north side, yeah. To be honest, growing up, I never really got to the north side very often. And me and my friends, we'd always go to the suburbs and hang out in the mall. So yeah, I never really got to the north side very often. I mean, I have been to Cubs games, been to Wrigley several times, but my high school was a few blocks from Comiskey Park. And when I was a junior in high school in 93, 94, that's when the Sox made the ALCS versus the Blue Jays, I believe. And our school actually, our Catholic high school actually rented out the parking lot to people so they could park. But anything to make a buck. But because they have to pay all the money because, as you know, in private school you pay a tuition. But yeah, so I mean, my high school was right by Comiskey Park, but my dad, he was a huge White Sox fan. He loved Nellie Fox, Luis Aparicio; those were his favorite players. But yeah, I mean, that's how I got to love Don Mattingly. Even though I grew up in Chicago, I was watching the Saturday afternoon game on NBC.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of like how the rest of the country became Braves fans because of TBS.
Yeah. Obviously, TBS and WGN, which were kind of an exception to, which were cable stations, right? WGN wasn't. I don't know. TBS was. I don't know the history of TBS, but I know that the Braves and the Cubs, that's how they get a lot of their fans over the 70s and 80s and 90s. But yeah, I mean, I know NBC, ABC, CBS, and then eventually Fox. Those were the main channels we grew up on, going up to the TV and turning the knob. But yeah, at least that's what I had when I was growing up. And then eventually cable came around, and then that changed the history of TV. But yeah.
So a lot of junk for being a Mattingly fan or a Yankees fan out there in Chicago?
No, I was never a Yankees fan. Just get this straight, okay?
Gotcha.
I would, of course, I'd want him to do well and hit home runs and stuff. But yeah, I was never a Yankees fan, and I actually tell that to people in my Don Mattingly group on the Facebook group, that this is because I'll have people. I have to prove everything. I don't want people posting Yankees stuff if it doesn't have if it's not related to Mattingly, you cannot post it, and it'll be declined. So. I mean, so I will allow Dodgers stuff with Mattingly, Marlins stuff with Mattingly because he's coaching them now, or past stuff with Mattingly. So that's the only stuff I approve. I'll let people upload baseball cards or pictures of bobbleheads or whatever they have with Mattingly, their affiliation with him. I'll let them post it. But if it's not related to Mattingly, I won't post it, even if it's about.
So they weren't even like a second team for you.
No. Well, were they? I mean, I can't say I was. Anytime I would see the Yankees, I would think Mattingly, but I don't know that I really cared if they did well. I just wanted him to do well. But yeah, to be honest, I don't remember if I rooted for them or not. I don't think I did. And I guess if I did have a second team, I think it would be the Yankees because of Mattingly. But to be honest, I have a terrible memory. I don't remember what I ate for dinner yesterday. But yeah, so I don't know if I had a second team or not.
We got Mike saying, "What's up? How's it going, buddy?" He participated in my sale earlier today, so thank you. I appreciate it. So we got one of the questions answered, how a guy from Chicago became a Don Mattingly fan. How does
you have to excuse me when I'm looking over here so I can get the questions.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So how does a guy from Chicago become a fan of the Lion King, a.k.a. Lee Sung-yup?
All right. I guess Houston will be getting some schooling today for Asian cards, but
yeah, I know nothing about it at all. Green as grass.
Well, actually, I interviewed Justin a while back on my podcast, and we spoke for quite a while on that topic, more or less. But
yeah.
Well, yeah. I think Justin knows my story, but I'll say it anyway. In 2013, I was fired from the first time I was fired from a job. I was fired on my birthday in February, and I was unemployed. I couldn't find any work, and at this time I was still doing my PSA stuff. I actually started my I think I got into PSA around 2011, 2012 is when I was grading all of my Don Mattingly cards. But when I was fired from my job in February of 2013, I was pretty depressed. I was using savings to pay for my rents because I couldn't get unemployment. And eventually I'm like, okay, I had thought about, like 2 years previously, I thought about teaching abroad. And so I eventually, in like August of 2013, my sister was like, why don't you try and get your EFL, your Tefl certificate, teach English as a foreign language, EFL. And so I'm like, sure. And so I went to class in Chicago for my Tefl certificate. Got that in 1 month. It was intensive, 4 weeks. I got my Tefl certificate, and I already had my bachelor's from 20 years prior. But so I applied and got my job in Korea. And in January 2014, I moved to South Korea. And initially, our training was in Jeonju, and then we were placed in all the teachers were bused to Gumi, and then all those teachers, co-teachers, would come pick us up in Gumi, and we were all taken away one at a time. It was pretty strange. But I was picked up by my co-teacher and brought to Gyeongsan, South Korea, which is an east suburb of Daegu, where the Samsung Lions are, where they're based. And that's pretty much how I became a fan. To be honest, I knew there was a Korea baseball league, but I did not know anything about the teams or how they're called by the corporate name, not really their team name. When they started, which was 1982, I didn't know any of this stuff. I knew there was a team. I wasn't that ignorant, but I guess perhaps I shouldn't say ignorance, because a lot of people don't really care about foreign leagues, as you know. But I did know there was a Japanese league. I knew there was a Korean league. I don't know if I knew about CPPL, but anyway, I moved here in 2014, and since I was placed right outside of Daegu, I became a Samsung fan. And at that time, they had an amazing team. And that first year I was here, that was their last championship, 2014. They made it in 2015, but they lost to the Heroes, Nexon Heroes. But before that, they won like 5 or 6 years. They won the championship, and so my first year here is their last championship. So I'm grateful for that. But that team had a lot of stars. They had Choi Hyung Woo, Oh Sung Wan, In Chan Yong, Lee Sung Yup. I mean, they had so many stars, and that team was so dominant. And of course, they were playing at the old stadium, which was a dump. But and they got the new stadium in 2017, which was like state of the art and like just like a pro, like an MLB pro stadium, and it's a beautiful stadium. But that's pretty much how I became an Lee Sung Yup fan. And actually, ironically enough, Lee Sung Yup is from Daegu as well.
So that's crazy. I thought you were a fan of his, like a lot longer than that.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know anything about Korea baseball until I moved here in 2014.
Wow. So I don't know if everybody's seen earlier, but I was putting your blog up, and when I was stationed in Korea for the third time, your blog was a lifesaver for me because I didn't know that there was that 15 year gap in between when Korean baseball cards were actually made. So you were one of the first people that I reached out to, and you helped me tremendously. And then if anybody wants to read my interview with you, it's from November 17th, 2017. So if you check out Dan's blog, Korean Cardboard, you can search for it on Google. You'll get some crazy photos of Korean people carrying cardboard. But just look for the one that's the blog. And
well, you know why they carry that cardboard, right?
Yeah, because they're like cardboard ninjas. They can make a box out of, like, the way that they can construct a box into another box to fit whatever size you need. It's insane. I tried to do it before, and it looked like Ace Ventura delivered the package. Like it did not go good.
Well, it's a more serious issue here in Korea. A lot of ajushis and ajumas, older ladies, older men who are not being supported by their family, or maybe lost their family, or just are not in touch with their family anymore, or maybe they're just trying to earn extra money. A lot of these people actually try and collect that cardboard to sell and give back for recycling so they can get money. That's why they collect all that cardboard.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm glad that my blog helped you. I mean, it was a hobby. When you're living abroad, you have to have hobbies. And I know it's not easy to find a lot of Korean friends. And I suppose I've been here. This is my 8th year in Korea, and I don't speak Korean well enough to have a conversation. I'm terrible at studying. I've never liked studying. And I could probably say half of what I want in a sentence in Korean because I can't remember like verbs or nouns or any kind of vocabulary. My memory is so bad that, I mean, you can't speak a language if you can't remember everything. So, I mean, that's my problem. But anyway, getting off topic. I'm glad my blog helped you. I needed a hobby. When I realized that, and actually it's funny, we mentioned how they had the big laps that year, 2014, when I moved here is when they started making baseball cards again. And Entry of Duel, which I'm sure you remember, yep. They had the license from 2014, 2015, 2016, and then in 2017, Daewoo Media, who is SCC, they're the ones who picked up the license. But to this day, I don't know if there could be more than one license. I've never asked. I've never researched it. To my knowledge, there's never been more than one license in a year. As far as like what cards were produced, I know lots, but I'm not the pro. Thomas St. John knows a lot, but because he's been here forever and he knows a lot more than I do. But I know in 82 and 83, I know they had some cards. I think they were from 83. I don't have them in front of me. I wish I should have brought them out. But 83 had some cards. I don't think 84 through 90 had any cards. 91, 92, 93, 94, I think had some cards with Telica. I think 97 had, I don't know if 97 and 98 was not Telica. 97, there was a set in paper and plastic. Like it was almost like a lenticular set, almost like a Sportflick, but it wasn't. That 97 had a set, 98 had a sticker set, 99, 2000, or 99, 2000, and 2001 were all Telica. from 2002 to 2013, there were no licensed sets released in Korea. Think about that. Imagine there being no baseball cards in your country for about 12 years. And people always wonder why didn't they make cards. I have no idea. Japan, Korea pales in comparison to Japan as far as baseball card sets produced and the quality made and everything. Sometimes even Japan makes USA look silly, but obviously, I think Japan has maybe 4 licenses or 5 licensees for making cards. But yeah, so there was a huge span where they didn't have any cards. But since I came here from 2014 to present, there have been cards released.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I noticed in Korea was the collecting culture really isn't that huge. I mean, because there's not a lot of space. So it's not like you have a spare bedroom or something to put all your cards in. Like my apartment there, it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had cards everywhere, everywhere but the laundry room. And yeah, and plus with the way they didn't really, yeah, see, because I mean that's what my apartment looked like. I would have a path. I definitely looked like I could have been on an episode of Hoarders, but I knew where everything was at, and I knew if something was missing because I put it there. But another thing I noticed is they didn't value the cards the way that I did, because in Korea, a serial number card is pretty damn hard to get because you only have one manufacturer. It's not like and they only have 1 or 2 releases a year. So it's not like they didn't have like some ridiculous buyback program where you get it. They find an old card, stamp it 101, release it, tomorrow. But so these kids would have all these serial numbered cards to like 100, and they're just in their grocery bags and stuff because that's what they would carry to the game. It was, their grocery bags full of their cards, and I'm just like looking, and I'm like, why isn't this penny sleeved and stuff? And I would have my book, and it was like teaching a caveman fire. Like they seen my book, and they all just gathered around. Well, they also gathered around because I'm a 6'2" white dude trying to get autographs. So I was like, it was like.
Yeah, you stood out. Yeah, you stood. I mean, I did go with Justin a couple times too. We went to a game one time in Suwon, and we were there early, and then it was all the ladies trying to get autographs or dates or whatever. But, and then here's this big 6'2" white guy, and the short white guy, the token white guy, the small white guy, I should say. And we were there, and it's just to me, it's funny to see him there trying to get cards. This 6'2" guy in the armed forces is it's pretty amusing.
And I was racking too, man. So they loved me. But we actually went to another game as well. When you took photos of me, we went to the SK Wyverns Hotel Riviera. And
Gomez, was that his name?
Hector
Gomez. Yeah. I had a picture of you getting an autograph. No, he wasn't in the. I met him that day when. That's the one time I met a foreign player, but yeah, I took a picture of you and I put it on my blog, but and then you might have used it, but yeah, we were out by the SK buses by the hotel, and we met Hector Gomez. Seemed like a really cool guy, but yeah, that photo was one of the Korean players, but yeah, that was a fun time.
So you go to Korea not knowing anything about the cards. How did you acquire all this information?
All right. So as you know, Naver is a search engine in Korea. It's a Korean search engine, naver.com. And you use Naver to watch KBO games. If you're abroad, I think you can.
Pretty much use it for everything.
Yeah. Naver is very, very popular here and very big. It's very useful for everything. But yeah, I just started searching, and I started using I think I started searching Enshrieve, which is spelled in English in Korean, but it's spelled in English, so that was easy. So I would search Enshrieve. I would search. I don't know why they call it. Maybe you know this. They call it Shubeka, those entry cards. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if Chewbacca means is short for superstar baseball card, but and so I started searching that, and that's how I found neighbor cafes and stuff. And at that time in 2014, Emart Everyday or what's the other store that's British? It's
Home
British. Home Plus, yeah, Home Plus. So in 2014, they were selling those in boxes. They were selling boxes in those stores. They don't do that anymore. And well, at least obviously Untitled not around anymore. But the later sets, I don't think they sold in the stores either. But
yeah, basically hobby only.
Yeah, the 2014 season 1, season 2, and season 3 they sold at the store, and I could buy them in the store. Otherwise, I had to buy them on Gmarket, and I didn't know about coupon at the time. But so I would buy them on or Taeyang Shop. So I had to buy them on Gmarket. So that's how and just so everybody knows, they don't sell packs. They only sell boxes, and you can't buy a complete set. You have to buy boxes to make a complete set. And
the boxes.
Yeah, and so probably the last 3 years, I think I bought an SCC box my first year that came out in 2017, but since then I've just been buying because I know how bad the collation has been between what I hear from you and what I hear from George. I just buy the collated set from a breaker, and I pay like, I don't know, $50 to $60, maybe more depending on the set and if it's a premium set or a regular set. But I'm not going to spend like the newest rainbow set. There's no base set. There's no plain paper set. It's all parallels.
All insert cards, dude.
All inserts, yes. I watched one break, but it's like 100. Well, it retailed at like 150, but I've seen them being sold for a lot less now. But even to the point that even under 100, I think I've seen under 100 for these boxes now. But I think they're all parallels, and it's not a base set. So all these cards are numbered. Every single card you pull out of a pack is numbered, and I'm not a fan of that at all.
No,
I don't think I'm going to have any cards from this set. So I uploaded the checklist to TCDB, but it's not going to have any cards unless somebody else uploads them.
Yeah,
I'm not actually. To be fair, I did look on Sports Card Holic, or maybe it was a different cafe, but I did see someone selling some of the coding parallels, whatever parallel had the most number, like that had a lot of the biggest run, which might have been like 250 or something. But I did see someone selling them in bulk for a decent price, so maybe I'll consider buying that. But I'm not spending $5 to $10 per card to try and build this set. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. So I don't think I'm going to be buying any of the 2021 Rainbow set. But previously, 2019, 2018 was red or black or whatever. I would buy those cards directly from the box breakers, because I didn't want to spend money on boxes and bad collation and getting 25% of a set with 5 boxes or whatever.
And if you check out the screen, so you see the different Shinsu Chus, they look awesome, but I cannot see a difference other than the serial number. What's the difference between 150 to
Scroll up a little bit. I think the only maybe the upper left logo is different in color. I can't really tell. I don't know about. To be honest, I haven't really looked into this much. I was just trying to get all the parallel set names correctly so I could upload it to TCDB correctly. And of course, every single player has an autograph.
Yep, which makes my collecting pretty much insane, impossible. Yeah, but so. I totally forgot what I was going to say. I spaced it. I was looking at all the baseball cards, and I was just getting angry because I want a box of it, and it's ridiculously expensive.
Did you end up buying any or no?
No, I did not. I have taken a break from buying.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah. I think I hit that wall kind of like Houston has done, because I believe Houston, you're getting rid of all your MLB stuff, right? And you're going wrestling.
Yeah. It's just the hassle with everything sports related here. It's just not worth it to deal with. And I know I'm going to sound like that guy. Oh, you just can't afford anything. But yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's the truth. But it just seems like in the last 2 months, probably, that if it's not a PSA 10 of a prospect who's never touched an MLB field, or, if it's not a select retail box being sold for 4 times retail, that you just can't sell anything and you can't really afford anything. So it's just much more a hassle. And the wrestling stuff is really, it's actually really starting to take off. So I'm really going to try to get into that before it does take off, because you can just Google or look at the eBay or sold history of an Andre the Giant card and just scroll through for the last week, and you can see the prices going up. And obviously, wrestling's been very good to me for the last 3 months. So the sports is just too big of a hassle to deal with anymore.
And that's kind of why I started collecting Asian baseball cards, because it seemed like the same thing was getting regurgitated over and over and over. The prices were going up, quality was going down. There wasn't anything that piqued my interest. And then living in Korea, it was like it was all new.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was when I got to Korea, it was like almost like being a crackhead. I got a little sniff of the KBO and I needed more. So, I went head first into that. And I practically lived at the ballpark my entire year that I lived in Korea. Like, even on weekdays, I was there and getting off work and just going to the hotels and graphing. And
how much you traveled.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank God that Korean public transportation is amazing. It's honestly, I haven't been to Japan outside of the airport, so Japan's probably right there with Korea, but everything's in English. And then if somehow you can't read that English, the lines are color coded and it tells you where you need to go, and it's crazy cheap.
Yeah, I've been here. I still don't have a car here. I don't drive, and so if I want to go anywhere, I don't care about doing a lot of things outdoors, to be honest. So, if I want to get somewhere, I just take a bus. They have intercity buses, either in the city. They have city buses in the city, and they have buses that'll take you to other parts of the country. And if it won't take you all the way there, you have to just go there and transfer to another bus. And of course, they have subways, and they have a pretty good train line as well, KTX.
Yeah. And during my time, they built SRT station, which is a super rapid train. And so that cut before, for me to get to Seoul, I would have to transfer twice, I believe. And it would take me about an hour and a half to get to the stadium. So I would get up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, get on the train to get to the stadium before the players got to the stadium. So it was like a 14-hour day for me. But instead of that hour and a half, once they built the SRT station, I could go one stop out of my way and make it to Seoul in, I think it took 18 minutes.
Wow.
Like, yeah, dude. And you know how much it cost me? $5. So, yeah, it was awesome. And the seats, I had plenty of leg room. And the subway stations and the train stations, I absolutely loved them because they were all underground. But you didn't know that because there was a mall underground and all kinds of shopping. So, yeah.
I don't know if you experienced this, at least in Daegu, during the summer, they don't have AC in the subway.
Very stinky, very crowded.
Very hot and humid, like Houston was saying. I would dread, in the summertime, I dread going, well, I'm trying to think about this. I remember a couple of years ago, I would go downstairs, because Houston, it could get get hot and humid here as well. It could be like 75 and it'd be like 80 degrees humidity. And
it's probably the same type of weather is in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, in the subway, I swear they had AC, but I remember sometimes in the Daegu subway, I'd go downstairs. I would worry about going to subway because it was so hot and humid, and there'd be all these people on the train, and not where they're pushing them in like in Japan, but I mean, there'd be a lot of people. It'd be uncomfortable, but and then you'd have AC on the subway, but not in the subway platform where you're waiting for a subway train. But what I wanted to ask you was when you came to, I know you've been here 3 different times for 3 different tours. Obviously, no more tours for you. But how did you collect cards your last tour here, the year I met you?
Well, for me, I got the best of both worlds. So even though I was living overseas, I had a military address. It's called an APO, an Army Post Office. So I could buy cards from America and get them sent to me through priority mail. I didn't have to pay like the $20, $30 worth of shipping, right? And then I didn't have to worry about paying crazy Korean shipping prices because my realtor over there, shout out to Jay Lee, that dude is amazing. He's like, okay, just get your cards sent to my address. So I used his Korean address. And so that's how I was getting cards. And
I'm sorry, I was talking about like Korean cards for the most part.
Korean? Your blog, man. I read your blog, and then I found out that they were in Home Plus. I didn't know where any Home Pluses were, so I just got on the train and rode the train until I seen Home Plus has that giant triangle like dome on top of it, and I just rode the train around South Korea looking for that dome, dude. And
did that work?
Yeah. It took me a couple times to find it where the aisles were because my Korean sucks, and I have, even in America, people tell me I have an accent, so I'm trying to say yagu, which is baseball in Korean. I'm like, yagu, card. And they look at me like, I don't know, dude. So,
okay.
But I finally found them in like the Pokemon section, and it was like the bottom shelf. And it was like you had to wipe the dust off of them because these cards came out in 2014. I got the South Korea in 2016. So these cards sat on the shelf for, well over 2 years. And so I found your blog. So that got me to the Home Plus, and I bought up all those boxes. And the cool thing was, a box I think was only like $15.
Yeah, no, they're between 12 and 15 for that.
Yeah.
Some places still have that set. Boxes.
Yeah, and so no autographs, no relics, nothing like that, right? There was one gold facsimile you would get. That was one per box, right?
Oh, Superstar, one per box, and then they had Big Star, which had like I think 2 people per team had the silver foil on their name.
Yeah, so that's how I got started, and then I would.
All-Star, yeah, and I'm sorry, I think one card or 2 cards from each team had the foil All-Star card.
Yeah, so then that was like my first taste of it, right? And then Danny Kurtz, his website, my KBO. That's how I started finding the rosters, because I didn't realize that not only do players change teams, it's very rare in Korea, but they change their numbers a lot more than there are trades in the league. So I'm trying to build my teams and everything, my stacks of the teams to go to the games and get autographs. So I started getting autographs, right? And like people just flocked to me, like the young kids, and they would help me out. And
yeah,
then
that was pretty funny. It was all right. Admittedly, I used them for a couple games as well, but seeing them people autographs is amusing.
Those little dudes were awesome. They were so willing to help me out, and so then I started seeing all of the different parallels and things like that they had, and they would help me in their broken English. And then who was it? Intrieve that originally had the card.
In 2014, Entry, yeah.
So they had a post on Facebook that they were going to be at Jamsil with the new release of, I believe it was the Samsung Lions and Doosan Bears team sets.
Yeah, that was 2016.
So I went up there, met Matthew Kerr, And then I bought almost everything that they had because it was like the manufacturer actually came to the baseball stadium and was selling these cards. And then come to find out, they had just a huge cardboard box of all commons just thrown in there. And they were like, if you want any, take some. And I was like, how many is some? I have a couple shoe boxes. Can I fill them up? And I filled them up. And they actually would reach out to me on Facebook to let me know when new releases and stuff were coming out. So I had that in with the manufacturer, but they sadly changed to STC or whatever they're called now, Duel.
SEC.
But that's how it started for me. And then if I saw any Home Pluses or anything like that, or Toys R Us, I would always hit it up and see if I could find cards. And then you let me know about the card store in Seoul, and if I wasn't at the ballpark, I was at this dude's store.
Daichi Superstar in Gangnam.
Yeah, in Gangnam. So yeah, I love that place, dude. The song doesn't do it justice. Great food, all kinds of cool stuff, and the guys. The crazy thing is, the dude's store, it was as big as my guest bedroom. Just tiny, packed with all kinds of KBO relics and stuff. And I was buying up everything, man. And the cool thing was, it was cheap. And like, I kind of became friends with the guy, and he would give me really good deals on stuff. So yeah, that was my collecting journey, and I miss that old guy. Is he still alive?
I did exchange some emails with him a few months ago.
Okay, so COVID hasn't gotten him, so he's hanging in there. Good, because when I go back to Korea, I'm going there. I have that route memorized, that train route.
Well, I hope you do come back. It'd be good to see you again. But what I wanted to get, because you said you wanted to talk about collecting in Asia, and as you know, Issei also played in Japan.
Yes.
And how do you think I would, all right, Houston, how do you think I would buy, all right, I live in Korea. How do you think I would collect a Korean player who played in Japan? How would I collect his Japanese cards?
Wouldn't have the first clue.
All right. So there are, so I've been to Tokyo 3 times. Sadly, I've not really gone anywhere else in Japan other than Tokyo, the 3 times I've been there. And I did go to shops, and there are some franchises in Japan that have the baseball card franchises, and it's called, the main one is Mint. And they have several around Tokyo, and then they have some in the other cities or surrounding around Tokyo area. And I believe they have some more outside of that. Perhaps if Dave or Robert are still in the chat, they could say something about that. But I do know they have other Mint stores outside of Tokyo.
Yeah,
anytime I'm in Tokyo, I would always go to different baseball card shops, and I would always look them up to see where they're at and how do I get there, what train line do I take, how much will it cost, all that stuff. All you guys know how that works. But so when I'm in Tokyo, I will go to shops and try and find cards of Issei. But if I'm at home, I will either go on the local Korean neighbor cafes, and they'll try and sell. Sometimes you'll see Issei cards for sale, or I will have to use. Mint still have a website, but I don't think it's very effective. But there are third-party sellers, I don't want to say sellers, third-party people, third-party websites that are based in Japan that will help you buy cards. And usually you have to live outside of Japan to use these sites. There's Joss, there's Bai, there's Napin, there's Zen Market, and I think there's one more I can't think of at the moment. They will charge you a fee for everything you buy, for like an item you buy. And a lot of people use those services, and that's another way I've been buying a lot of my Japanese Mankos and my Issei cards when I see something that I need. All of these are Issei cards that I started with in the PSA registry. So 1999 is the earliest card I have of his. Robert made a trade with me, so I actually have a 1997 card coming. So I will try and get.
They're not in team bags.
What?
Are they in team bags?
They are not in team bags.
Oh, the case is going to get scratched.
I don't know. I mean, there's a couple that are iced here, but I don't know how much space I'll. This thing's heavy, and
Yeah.
you should pretty. It was pretty funny. I bought this case from a guy in CU, and I think was it full. I think I filled it with something. I bought it in America, and I had to ship to my sister's house, and I brought it back to Korea with me when I went home for vacation one time. I remember it being full. I don't remember of what it might have been these cards because I had them PSA graded, and I think I just had them shipped to my sister's house. This thing's probably 50 to 60 pounds. I haven't weighed it, but it's heavy. And I was late for my plane to Korea at in LAX. And if you saw me running, trying to carry this thing to the gate, you would laugh your ass off. I think I fell a couple times, but this thing was full. And yeah, so these are all send me up cards. So from 1999, it's in chronological order this way. And I think the last card over here is 2016, but he does have cards from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. I don't think he has. I haven't seen any 2021s yet. But this is basically the PSA registry that I had started for Isang Yup. So I went on PSA, started an actual Isang Yup card. And so there weren't any cards of his on there. So I submitted all of these to PSA, and they've loaded all of these in the PSA registry on the website. So from 0 to about, I want to say I got around 220 of his cards uploaded to PSA, and they've approved all of them. So his PSA registry master set is around 220. And that's part of my journey since I started collecting these cards in 2014. I love this. This is why I do grade them with PSA. Would I like to get 9s and 10s? Sure. But I mostly did it for it's more, what do you call it, sentimental. Yeah. So I started his registry set on PSA, and I've been slowly adding to it ever since. And that means a lot more to me than some other stuff that I've done since I've been here. But so getting all of his cards added, I have more cards that I just got. All right, so I was in a group. I always do group subs. I never sub by myself. I always do group subs, and I don't know when I'm going to do an extra PSA because their prices are ridiculous now. Yeah. When I started subbing cards in 2011, 2012, 2013 for Manning League, they were $4.50 per card.
Jeez.
All right, now, I mean, even before the big price increases because of the pandemic, I think the cards are up to $12, $15 per card now.
Yeah, every card remembers.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I had a group sub from 2020 September 2020 that logged in September 2020 that just popped in August of 2021. So it took 11 months for my 12 cards to be graded in my sub. And some of those are Isang Yup cards, which will go in this box. I mean, I have more cards that don't fit in here that are graded. They're Isang Yup cards, so I need to buy another one of these. This one was expensive, but I've seen more affordable ones now, so maybe I'll buy those.
Do you still have friends in Korea that are in the U.S. military?
Only John, but I don't speak to him very often.
No, because I can get you the stock number, and those can be ordered through the supply system, and they can disappear.
Well, okay. When I will have to talk to you a little later today.
I have some sweet Pelican cases.
Oh, what I wanted to tell you was because when you were mentioning about the little Korean kids helping you get autographs and stuff, what I wanted, the last card in this binder is 2016, but I have 2017s graded, but I misplaced them. They're somewhere around here. It's a mess. I still have to do organizing.
They're probably on your shelf.
I'm sorry?
They're probably on your shelf. That's where all my stuff's at.
They might be in one of these boxes, but I'm not sure where. But anyway, in 2017, Isang Yup's last year, they had a 5-card home run set. All right. So in the last 5 games of Isang Yup's career at home at Samsung Stadium, they had 1 card each day of the last 5 days. And so I knew that cards being released at a stadium, people probably won't care. They won't care about the condition. They'll put it in their pocket. They'll put it in their shirt pocket or whatever. So I sometimes when you're a foreigner, Korean kids will come up to you, say hi or whatever. And so sometimes when Samsung was playing those last 5 games, I don't remember who they were playing. I think they're playing Nexon and somebody else. I brought doubles of Nexon players and had these Korean kids try and trade the Nexen player, Samsung fans, Korean kids. They would go up to the Nexen fans and try and trade them Nexen players for the Isam Yup card that was released that day. That's how I acquired a lot of those cards and tried to, and then eventually for those 5 days, I went every day. And no, actually I had season tickets that year, so I didn't have to worry about getting tickets. So I had, or did I don't remember. Anyway, I did. But I had these Korean kids were running around trying to get tickets from these Samsung fans. I also brought because Park Min and Kuja Wook and Kim Sang-soo are fan favorites, as you may know. I brought a lot of their doubles as well. And these Korean kids would go up to these Korean girls or ladies and try and trade them those commons that I had of those players for the Isam Yup card they were given when they walked in. So that's how I acquired maybe 10 to 15 cards of each of those release dates. And so I submitted one card from each of those, and they all came back 8s or 9s and from PSA. One might have been lower, but I think they were all 8s or 9s, which I was thrilled with getting for a stadium release card. So that's why I wanted to mention that story, because I know that you used Korean kids to help you, and they were more open to it. Don't get me wrong; they were probably open to helping you. But
they approached me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were super awesome. I found a picture of them the other day, and
that's awesome that you have a picture.
Yeah, man, we take pictures all the time. Do the little heart fingers, and yeah. So I love those guys, and one of my favorite things about being in Korea was where you would find the card stores, because
far and few between. Yes.
Like in Asia, since they don't have a lot of space, they build down, they build up. So you could be like, oh, there's a card store here, but it's like on the 7th floor on the corner by the emergency exit, and you're like, there's an actual card store in here. That was my favorite thing.
Japan has that a lot. I'm sure you've seen Dave's blog where he would take photos, and you'll walk in a hallway and you're like, what? Where am I? There's nothing's labeled usually. I mean, sometimes they'll have those things at the top, but you'll wonder what. Okay, you'll knock on the door, you'll walk in, and it's not a card shop. You go to the next one, and then you'll see like boxes or store like those shoe boxes of cassettes, and then you'll find it. Oh, here it is, and yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to. We only have so much time.
We're running long.
Yeah, but I know that Houston. I know that sports cards are sometimes on phone cards, right? So sometimes in Korea and Japan. Phone cards are pretty popular for doing baseball stuff, and so this is a Korean phone card of Isam Yup. I cannot get these graded. I don't know if I'll ever get these graded. A lot of these have come back N9 from PSA. So I mean, that's the back. It's not like these have stats or anything. They're just normal phone cards. That was a Japanese one. I'm sorry, that was a Korean one. I have some Japanese ones in here somewhere. Here's a Japanese one where he played for the Yomiuri Giants. That's his autograph, but actually it's in Korean. Funny, his name, but it's a Japanese phone card on the back. But yeah, so a lot of these are not going to be graded. I want to try and get them graded because I want to have everything in the PSA registry, but I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, so I've been spending way too much money this month on my PC with Burley, Japanese Mankos, and Isam Yup cards. I've spent way too much money this month.
Yeah. So I think everyone learned a ton of information about Korean cards and Japanese cards, and hopefully we can get your blog some more traction so folks can check out all the goodies that you have on there, and then check out that post from November 17th, 2017, where you interview a certain handsome American.
Yeah. Deck McGuire. I interviewed Deck McGuire.
Yeah.
So on Twitter and on Instagram, I'm Korean Cardboard, and my blog is koreancardboard.blogspot.com.
All right. Anything else going on as far as the collecting?
I don't know. I do have a lot of cards. Some of these. Do you remember these coin cards?
Yeah, damn it. I traded one to Matt back in the day. I had quite a few liters of adult beverage and didn't know what I had. And that was the only one I ever pulled like a dummy.
All right, so I actually, I have the same. Well, there's 3 different versions. I only have one Lee card that I have graded. I'm gonna probably
like gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah. These cards I'm probably gonna send for grading. But some of these are Lee cards, some are Japanese, some are Korean. But how about this one?
Hideo Nomo.
Love those
and Kimetsu Buffaloes.
This is 1990 Takara rookie. I'm planning to send that one. This is his BBM 1991 rookie. This is his Calbi, one of his Calbi. He has two base cards in this set. This is one of them, and I got the other one the other day. Here is a sad story, but this is a Hideki Rabu rookie, BBM rookie. And then you remember Ibumho? This is a rookie from 2000 Teleka. So I'm
that's what I got. I'm hoping he comes back to America. He was a guest instructor before COVID for the Philadelphia Phillies of all teams. I guess maybe because Chan-Ho Park played for him, and he seems to like hook Korean players up with the teams that he played for. So I'm hoping if everybody can get their stuff together, that the KBO teams will come back to America next year, and maybe the ham fighters will, or the fighters will come back to Arizona next year. Fingers crossed. But
well, I hope so, because anytime those Japanese or even the Taiwanese or the Korean teams get there, anything to give more exposure to these teams, I know you'll do that.
Yeah, and I usually end up on TV too.
True. You've been on a lot of TV.
Yeah, nay. So yeah, that I have, and they always like to do articles with me when I look extremely stupid. So, but Houston, what do you have going on, brother? Hit us with those social medias.
Social media, Chasing the Graph on Twitter, Chasing the Graph on Facebook, Chasing the Graph 8 on Instagram that I never used. Just such an afterthought. I never use it. And I've only got 200 followers on there, and I've got like 1,600 on Twitter and 1,200 on Facebook. So it's like I'm actually tweeting or posting to people on those. And I feel like on Instagram, I'm just talking to myself, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I got some bad news. The fighters have built a new facility in Okinawa. That is horrible, because now I can't get Wang Po Jung's autograph because I didn't get his autograph last time. So now I'm SOL. But so what wrestling cards do you have your eye on right now? Any? The new Upper Deck, AEW Upper Deck release?
Yeah, I'm going to go after those for sure, because it's going to be hobby retail release. The odds of an autograph, even in hobby, are extremely low. Even in hobby, I think they're 1 in 4 boxes, if I'm correct.
Kind of sounds like KBO or MPB release, honestly.
Yeah, and as far as I know, the retail's not going to be like a guaranteed like auto or patch in the retail. So far, the hobby looks to be pre-sale about 100, 110, which is pretty much what we all thought it was going to be. So that's kind of cool that it's not some $250, hobby box that's not really going to be worth $250. And I think I'm gonna try to start on the I think it's the 87 Tops WWF set. I think I'm going to try that one because it's a very good, from what I've understood, what I've been told by people, it's a very good, affordable, and a really good starter set. And I really like a lot of the 1990 or 1985 OPC WWF stuff, but they're hard to find and they are expensive. Some of the Macho Mans in there are like 60 plus for a non-graded base card. Yeah.
Houston, when did you start collecting wrestling cards?
I literally bought my first one off eBay today.
So today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's something like I literally just decided probably 3 or 4, maybe like earlier this week, I decided that I just get more enjoyment when I see a wrestling card, and to me the sports have just kind of gotten. I haven't really gotten excited about it in a couple of months, so I just decided to sell what I could to make room for some wrestling stuff. It was a huge part of my childhood, and it's kind of been brought into the forefront of my life in the last 3 months, all completely accidental by destiny. And so I'm just taking it and running with it.
And so you have more passion for the wrestling than baseball?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll help.
Yeah. So what do you have? You have an interview coming up, right?
Yeah, tomorrow night actually it'll be. We'll I'm extremely thankful you introduced me to StreamYard because it's such an easy way to get the visual of everyone on the screen. And I used to just to do them with a phone call, which isn't really that, isn't a bad idea, but people like the visual thing. So
Yeah.
tomorrow night, 7:30 via StreamYard YouTube Live, I'm going to have Luke Sampson on. He's in the Nightmare Factory, which is Cody Rhodes, QT Marshall's training facility. They get kind of first dibs in the AEW. I guess when debuts or whatever. And I know he's been on AEW Dark a couple of times, and so I'm going to be live with him 7:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night, and we're just going to dig into him as a wrestler and how he got started and where he plans to go. And I know that him and his tag team partner, they're the Southeast SWAT team. They hold 2 championship belts from 2 different promotions. So
nice, awesome. Me, I actually have stuff going on. I am trying to sell a bunch of my extra autographed baseball cards. So check out Charm City Graphs on Twitter, and you can thank Dan for Charm City Graphs. You actually created my Twitter account because I was so anti-Twitter. Like I was like a boomer. I was like, I like Facebook. I don't like the Twitter.
Well, you were open to it. You were open to it when I said I would make it for you.
Yeah, so he made it for me, and
well, I made it for you because I knew how big Twitter was getting with baseball cards, and I thought it would help you. I thought it was a good idea to do that.
Yeah, definitely helped. So yeah, I have a bunch of commons, selling them for $2 shipped, and use the. If you look at the post, use that as a kind of like a crystal ball. All these first Bowmans and stuff that I can't get rid of and that are signed, and everybody's losing their shit over like Brett Batty and JJ Bleday and Jason Dominguez, and you're probably like, who the hell are those guys? Those guys' cards are selling for thousands of dollars. And everybody wants their first Bowman. So it could be like the guys that I'm trying to get rid of. So yeah. So keep wasting your money on that stuff, not mine. Mine's a great investment. Stonks to the moon, everything. Buy them. I write a handwritten card and thank you and everything. So yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about the actual cards themselves sometime.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times we come up with a description, just something to fill out the block in StreamYard and on YouTube and everything. And then once we start talking and everything, I'm probably just going to have to label one episode like shooting the shit or something and start it like a couple hours early. Because I know with us being in 3 different time zones, it's tough to get everybody together. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, thank you for everybody in the chat. This was the most active chat I've ever had. So that's awesome. I appreciate it. It's no coincidence that it happened when Dan is on. So thank you for your star power. I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in and watching. And I'll continue to keep trying to make better shows and like talk about the stuff that people get tired of, because Twitter's toxic and all that stuff. Is this good? Did I do good? What's up, Mario? Like bashing the way people sell, or this guy's good, or that's why I call it That Hobby Show, because like Houston loves wrestling. Dan, you love Korean baseball cards. I like Korean, Japanese, Taiwanese, not Chinese baseball cards. So I like all that stuff, but nobody ever talks about that on Twitter. So that's why I created a show, and hopefully that little circle of folks that watch, it starts to spread, and other people start tuning in and everything. So thank you to everyone in the chat, on my screen. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys next week. And here's the weird pause where I hit